The Portland Trail Blazers are quietly building something special. The Blazers have a 5-2 record on the season, and they're getting a ton of production from a variety of players. And overall, early on into the season, the Blazers just look like a very good team from top to bottom. But quickly, before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm Juicy Sports. I make opinionated NBA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. I also want to quickly mention that I recently started up an MMA channel, and if you guys are interested in that, the link will be in the description. But anyways, let's get into it. The Portland Trail Blazers weren't supposed to be good this year. After trading away CJ McCollum alongside with a couple other guys last year, it was perceived that the Blazers would be in somewhat of a rebuild this season. Now, it was interesting considering they did still have Damian Lillard on the team, but overall, they weren't supposed to be good at all. But early on into the season so far, the Blazers have far surpassed expectations and actually look like a really good team from top to bottom. At the top, Damian Lillard is playing out of his mind, but he's also getting a lot of help from his teammates. Guys like Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, and even Jusuf Nurkic are all playing at a very high level, specifically Anthony Simons, who looks like he's taking that next step in his NBA career. And the Blazers are also getting a lot of help from unlikely sources like Shaedon Sharpe and even Josh Hart. And more so than anything else, what I've seen from the Blazers thus far is they look like a team. And what I mean by that is they certainly don't have multiple superstars on the roster, but they play very well as a unit. They play very good team basketball by moving the ball effectively, finding the open player for open shots, and on the defensive side, they just play team defense. And overall, that style of basketball leads to good things. Because when you look at the best teams in the NBA, the teams that are consistently competing for championships, they play very good team basketball. Of course, they have the high-level superstars, but they also play well as a unit. And vice versa, we've seen a ton of examples in the past of teams that had 2, maybe 3, or even 4 superstars on their roster, but they didn't necessarily win a championship or live up to expectations, and the biggest reason why is they were never able to fully buy in. And at the end of the day, that was their demise. A great example of this is the Los Angeles Lakers when they had Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, and Dwight Howard. They were never able to fully buy in, and thus they were never able to have real success. But if the Blazers are truly going in the direction of a rebuild, they've gotten off to a phenomenal start. But why is that? Why are the Blazers playing so well thus far, especially considering they didn't have any expectations going into the year? The first and main reason has been the play of Damian Lillard. Of course, for a very long time now, we all knew that Dame is a legitimate superstar in the league and one of the best players in the NBA. But the way that he's been playing thus far this season has just been on another level, and he's playing out of his mind. On the year, he's averaging 31 points per game on an incredible 50% shooting from the field, 4.8 rebounds on 4.6 assists per game as well. And on October 21st and October 23rd against the Phoenix Suns and Los Angeles Lakers respectively, he put up back-to-back 41-point games on very efficient shooting numbers as well. Now, Dame did get injured and he did miss the last 2 games and will miss some games going forward, but he's certainly been a huge reason for why the Blazers were able to get off to such a hot start. Now, the next reason why the Blazers have been playing so well this season has been the play of Anthony Simons. So I slightly touched upon this before, but Anthony has been a player that has been slowly getting better each and every season. And he had his real breakout season last year where he averaged 17 points per game, a huge jump from 7 the year before, but this season he's taken another jump. On the year, he's averaging 22 points per game on 44% shooting from the field, 3 rebounds on 4 assists per game as well. But in his last 2 games, he put up 30 and 31 points respectively on very efficient shooting numbers as well. And it seems like with or without Damian Lillard, Anthony is just playing at an extremely high level. And the reason why that's important is for 2 different reasons. If the Blazers want to keep Dame long term, which at this point it seems like they do, of course it's very important for your main 2 guys to be able to play well together. Because if your main 2 guys can't play well together, you're never going to have any success no matter how good the rest of your team is. But the fact that Anthony has also proven the ability to play very well even when Dame isn't out there on the court tells you how good he actually is. Because when you're playing with a great player like Dame is, there's going to be pressure taken off for you because the defense is mainly going to focus on Dame, giving you more one-on-one opportunities. But when Dame is out, Anthony is the main guy, so the defense is certainly looking to focus on him, and the fact that he's shown the ability to flourish in those type of situations and even play better in those type of situations at times really just tells you how good he is, as I said. And Anthony has proven the ability to be one of those guys that just get better season after season, and I fully expect him to get better throughout the season, and of course I expect him to get better next season, the season following. I just see Anthony as a very talented young player, and I do have high expectations for him. But now another reason why I think the Blazers are playing so well this season is something that I touched upon before, but is the coaching and general good play as a unit. Whenever you talk about a young team like the Blazers, or really any team in the NBA that doesn't necessarily have the most talent, the main thing you look for is team play, and the Blazers thus far early on into the season, given that, have proven the ability to do so. And even though the Blazers clearly aren't championship contenders, I still could see them being a pretty good team, assuming they do play like this for the rest of the season. And what I mean by that is just to continue to play as a unit, play good offense, play good defense. Of course, I'm not expecting Dame to put up 40 points consistently. Also assuming the Blazers stay relatively healthy to finish out the year. But now, what are my specific expectations for the Blazers going forward? So at this point, I think I would expect the Blazers to be a top 8, maybe top 9 seed in the Western Conference. Now, some of you may be saying that those expectations are significantly too low, as they should be a top 5 or maybe even a top 6 seed in the Western Conference, and maybe others are saying they're just getting off to a hot start, but in reality they're not a good team whatsoever. But in my opinion, I could see this going either way. I could see the Blazers become a top 6 seed in the Western Conference, although it would be very hard to do so considering how good the Western Conference is, but at the same time I could also see the Blazers go in the other direction and become a much worse team than people expect at this point. But for me, as I said before, I don't necessarily think it's all that important on which specific seed the Blazers fall into this season. I think the most important thing, playoffs or not, is just play hard each and every night and start to build that foundation and culture in Portland that would lead other players around the NBA to want to come here in free agency. And of course, the Blazers aren't championship contenders at this point, and they aren't really all that close, so free agents wouldn't want to come to the Blazers next season, for example. Most likely it would probably take some time, but the Blazers need to start now to build that foundation. But now, what are my expectations for the Blazers going forward long term? So I definitely think the Blazers have a bright future ahead of themselves. They already have some really nice talented players on the roster, but they've also done a nice job at trying to bring some draft picks back to Portland that they previously traded away. And at this point, it seems like what the Blazers are going to do is they're going to build through the draft. They're going to use their draft picks every single season and draft whatever player they like best, but when there's opportunities to trade away some players that don't matter to them as much in return for some draft picks, they probably will go ahead and do that. Because the biggest issue the Blazers faced in the past when they had Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum is they weren't really able to improve. Because they had no cap space, they had a lot of money tied into both Dame, CJ McCollum, and Nurkic, but they also traded away all their draft picks to try to bring some other players in that didn't necessarily pan out for them, so they were just in a terrible situation. But at this point, it seems like they're trying to fix those issues and go in the right direction. But I guess only time will tell what does end up happening with Portland. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think the Portland Trail Blazers are headed in the right direction, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, check one of these 2 videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out guys.